Good. Michael,
Nice to meet you.
We'll start in just a second.
Okay.
Let everybody get seated. Welcome into this 2025 NCAA Women's March Madness pre-tournament press conference. A few announcements before we get started. As a courtesy to your fellow media members, as well as the coaches and student athletes, please silence your cell phones. Also, please provide your name and media affiliation each time you ask a question during the press conference. If you are joining us on Zoom, please use the raise hand function for questions. We will address questions in the room first and get to Zoom if time allows. As a reminder to those in the room, recording the press conference on cell phones or cameras is prohibited. At this time, we are joined by the Oregon Ducks. We have with us student athletes Deja Kelly and Peyton Scott. We will open again the questions to the room, followed by Zoom. So front row left here. We do have a mic. Again, it just takes a minute to get there for some of us.
Good afternoon, ladies. I'm Destiny Vance with the Juice Network. This question is for Deja. How does it feel to be back in Cameron?
Yeah, it feels great. This is, of course, a historic building, a historic gym. Have played here quite a few times, so I'm excited to be back here with a different squad, but we're excited to be here.
Front row.
For each of you, Ryan Clark with the Oregonian. For each of you, just your thoughts on looking ahead to this matchup with Vanderbilt. What have you seen on film, and what do you look forward to, I guess, with that matchup?
Peyton, can you start for us?
Yeah, of course. First off, thank you for coming all the way out here. We appreciate it. We're excited about this matchup. I know we talked a lot about how we're kind of the opposites of each other, and how they're scrappy. They like to get up, make it a fast-paced game, get up and down the court, and we just want to slow it down a little bit. So just making the game extend a little bit longer, but just two very different teams, one SEC, one Big Ten, so two top conferences. We're excited for the matchup.
Yeah, they're a really good team, have some really good players, some good key players, so and so do we. So I think we match up in that way, and it'll definitely be a different pace game for both sides, but I'm excited. I think we have the depth to match with what they got as well.
Front row.
My question to both of you ladies are, how are you all preparing coming in? You guys came all the way from the West Coast to the East Coast. What is that preparation like, getting ready to go in, like you said, two big conferences, two great teams, to get this first round going?
Yeah, I think it's nothing new for us. I mean, we've been in the Big Ten now, so we've made, I think this is our fourth or fifth trip kind of across the country. So we're kind of used to it, thanks to our conference. But it's like any other one for us, just making sure we're really locking in on the details, locking in on scout, and just being as prepared as we can going into tomorrow.
Doug.
Doug Feinberg, the AP. Dej, you obviously spent time in this area when you were at Carolina. Mm-hmm. There's three women's first-round sites here. Mm-hmm. There's a men's regional or men's first-round site here. I mean, how great is this area for women's basketball from your time here and coming back now?
Yeah, it's extremely special. Basketball has been huge and has been great in this triangle area for a while. And when I was at Carolina, it was so much fun to play here because you're within a 10-mile radius of each school, but just a fan base as well for each kind of area I think is huge. And again, this just brings more eyes and more fans and viewers to this area too. That just speaks on how good the level of basketball is here, and to have three teams and a men's regional being able to play here, that just speaks about the state itself. It's a great state of basketball for sure.
Second row.
Lindsay Gibbs with Power Plays. Deja, I know you wanted new experiences and to challenge yourself with this going to Oregon. How do you feel like you've grown on and off the court this past year?
Oh my gosh, in so many different ways. I think that was the biggest thing that I wanted to do when I chose to go to Oregon, was just grow in a bunch of different ways, and more specifically, of course, on the basketball court, but also as a person. I think they kind of tie together. But on the basketball court, I mean, I've just grown as a better leader, a better player, a better teammate. Like, I think overall it has just been such an eye-opening experience for me. And again, that's all I could have asked for in my last year as well. And it's kind of ironic for me to finish kind of back where I started. Well, we're not saying we'll be done here, but to have my last tournament back where we started, I think that's kind of a beautiful story for me personally. But overall, just the growth that I've had at Oregon and with my team, and seeing the growth of my teammates as well, has been such a phenomenal thing to be a part of.
Third row in the back. As a reminder to those on Zoom, just raise your hand if you do have a question. We'll get to you in a moment.
Mitch Northam, SB
Hey,
Nation.
Mitch.
Hi, Deja. Welcome back. I'm just curious, kind of, the way the brackets were set up and knowing that all three teams were going to host here, you probably thought it was a possibility you could come back here. What was the reaction and the feelings when you saw it pop up on the screen?
Yeah, with seeing 3 teams hosting here, I was like, okay, our chances are getting higher and higher every time for us to come back out here. And once I saw our name on the screen, I was just like, okay, it's go time. And I was surprised, but wasn't surprised. I figured there would be some type of way to get some type of story to come back here, which is fun. It's always exciting for the game. So yeah, I'm excited for us to just have the opportunity to continue to play more basketball in March Madness. This is a phenomenal opportunity for a lot of our girls who this is their first time. So I'm really excited that we can do it here in such a historic gym to start off. But yeah, I'm excited to be back out here and play back out here in this area. Like I said before, it's a great area of women's basketball, and we're excited to play in this crowd.
Front row.
Ryan Clark with the Oregonian. Starting with you, Peyton, I guess the challenges of defending Michaela Blake's obviously somebody that brings a lot of talent, has a couple of 50-point games this year. That's a legit challenge. But your team has shown this year the ability to sort of focus on star players like that and be able to team defend them. I'm wondering what some of those challenges are going to be presented with her.
Yeah, as you said, she's obviously a phenomenal player and has put up some really big numbers, had really big games this year. And so we've really taken to heart just making sure that we're putting together a scout and a game plan to limit that, as you've said, we've been able to do in the past. So really just keying in not only on her, but they have 2 other big players too that account for a lot of their production. So just making sure that we're prepared and detail-oriented on our game plan with them.
Time for a couple more in the room before we go to Zoom. Front row.
Destiny Vance with the Juice Network. My question to Peyton is, what has been the consistency of the success of the Oregon Ducks women's basketball through this season, regular season, and going into the postseason?
Yeah, I think there's 2 things that we've really hung our hat on this year. One has been defense, just like you said, holding big-time scores under their averages. And another's been our depth. Just how deep we're able to go in our bench, just wear teams down and really grind games out. So I think that's really going to show in the tournament. Just being able to rely on our bench and rely on our defense when we might not be able to score the ball as well.
Second row.
Hey, Shelby Swanson with the Raleigh News and Observer.
Hey.
Good to see you again. Just a question for both of you guys. Obviously, WNBA is expanding, but roster spots are really limited. I wanted to ask for both of you guys, as you're looking ahead to the draft, is there anything that you guys are trying to maybe prove, show off to scouts in these final games in the tournament?
I think for me personally, it's just playing my game. Not trying to do too much, not trying to do too little, not trying to change anything really. I think that for me, as long as I play like myself, I think that's enough. And I think that's something that I've just been focus a lot on this whole year. Really, I found myself sometimes like trying to change my game, trying to do specific things to try to appeal to scouts or whatever it was, and I just had to remember that they liked me for how I played for the past 4 years, so there was no need to change, just continue to add. So I think that was a big thing and a big focus for me, just going out there and really just focus about being present in the moment too, and just being here with the team, focus on us winning games and getting as far as we can in this tournament, and I think the rest will take care of itself. I think that's the biggest thing for sure.
Doug, did you have one more before we go to Zoom? Front row.
Doug Feinberg, the AP. For both of you, what's your first March Madness memory as watching, not playing in?
As watching? Yeah. As watching. I remember I was actually in in middle school. I was a library aide in middle school, and I remember it was like the end of the day and the last bell had rang and everyone was kind of leaving to go in the buses. And I actually missed the bus because I was trying to watch the end of a March Madness game that was just on a TV in the library. So just watched it all growing up, have excited that this is my first one just to be a part of it and not just be a spectator this year.
Man, I have a few. I think I've watched March Madness for a while, but I want to say like the most that I remember just being locked in. I was older at this time, but Notre Dame and the Final Four, just their whole kind of tournament run. I think that one was that. I mean, it speaks for itself, just how kind of excellent that was. But that's like my biggest March Madness memory, I think, because that just speaks to what March Madness is. It's very unpredictable. It's fast paced. It's ups and downs. Brackets are busted. Like I think that was kind of the epitome of what March Madness means. And Enrique with her game winning shots. Like I think that overall it just speaks to the excitement of surrounding March.
I was at both of those games.
Were you?
Watched them. Yeah,
Really?
both in person.
I couldn't imagine in person.
It
On
was in
TV it was
Columbus.
already crazy.
Yeah, it was in Columbus. It's crazy.
All right, we'll head to Zoom now. Rob, you will go first, followed by Eric and then Ronald. So, Rob, the floor is yours.
Hey, Peyton, question for you. Just getting out there, I wonder about your emotions today, getting to the hotel, seeing the signage, getting to the venue there, just seeing the signage. For you personally, what has today been like that way?
Man, it's felt like a different like butterfly feeling in my stomach, honestly. Just, growing up idolizing March Madness, it's super special. And, I left film today just super grateful, super blessed to be here. Knowing not every team gets to make it, and I've been a part of those teams that are watching from the outside. So I'm just extremely grateful to be here with my team, with this team, and just to finish on a high note, honestly.
All right, Eric, you're up. Just a reminder, please provide your name and media affiliation.
Eric Scopel at 247 Sports. For both or either, with the size advantage Philly has inside, how much of a factor and I guess a game part of the game plan is it to get her involved early?
Yeah, I think that's something for us that, we try to take advantage of every game. We know that we have a size advantage with her and a few of our bigs, honestly. We have a lot of depth in that spot. So I think just us, just playing at our pace early and getting the looks that we can, some easy looks for everybody, really. I think that's really the main goal. And I think when Philly, has great positioning, we try to get her the ball there and go from there.
And finally, Ronald.
Ronald Clark from KMTR in Eugene. For both of you guys, obviously Coach Graves has made many runs in the tournament. What's sort of his message heading into this first game?
I think it's pretty simple. It's 0-0. It doesn't matter what your seed is. It doesn't matter who you're playing, where you're playing. Anything can happen in March, and we've seen it every single year. We've seen it already. And so just really staying present, and pretty much the most prepared team's going to win, locking in on the scout and the details and just making sure, we're showing up with a belief and a mindset that we're going to win every game that we play.
Well, with that, Peyton, Deja, thank you for your time. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you all.
Thank you, guys.
To the room and Zoom, we will be joined by Oregon head coach Kelly Graves momentarily. Which one does it matter? That one will work right there.
Right here.
We're now joined by the head coach of the Oregon Ducks, Kelly Graves. We will, again, have the same process. Coach will actually open with an opening statement, then questions. Just raise your hand if you have one. We have a mic for you. Coach, the floor is yours.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Glad to be here. The Ducks are happy to be here and excited for this opportunity. The trip yesterday and coming here on campus today brings back great memories. It was 8 years ago that we came down here as the same 10 seed, and we had a couple freshmen by the name of Sabrina Ionescu and Ruthie Hebert, and we played really well and happened to win both games, and that was kind of the start of our women's basketball program in a lot of ways, and kind of put us on the map. And so just happy to be here. We'd love for that magic to happen again, but we'll wait and see. We've got obviously a really tough team that we've got to play. Vanderbilt is just really, really good, you guys. It's contrast of styles. We want to grind it out. They want to get out and go. And if we have to get out and go with them, we're in trouble. So, yeah, there we go.
Questions from the room? Front row. Give us a moment to get the mic to you.
You really need a mic?
NCAA says we need a mic.
I mean, I'm getting old, but I can at least hear from this close. Back row, maybe not.
Ryan Clark with Oregonian. Kelly, obviously this Vanderbilt team, like you said, contrast in styles. Michaela Blake's one of the more talented players in the country, 50-plus points in a couple of games this year. Challenges defending her, and then just general things you saw in film about this Vanderbilt team.
Well, she's obviously a fantastic player. They're more than just her, but boy, I'll tell you, she reminds me a little bit of Jordan Canada, who we had to play against for 4 years. I liken her to a jet airplane. I mean, if she's on the runway and taking off, we can't catch her. So we've just got to make sure that, we defend her collectively. We've got to somehow make this a half-court game, and because she's so good in the open court, she's great in the half court as well. Looking at all their synergy statistics, it's incredible how efficient they are, not just in transition, not off just turnovers. In the half court, they're equally as good. They're just a very well-rounded team. But yeah, it's going to be a challenge defending her. I mean, she is a great player. We have Juju Watkins in our league, so we know what great guards look like, and she's definitely in that discussion for sure.
Front row.
Hey, Coach, Doug Feinberg,
Hey, Doug.
AP. Two questions for you. The first one is just, for the first time, there's units for women's basketball teams in March Madness. You've been around this game for a minute. How big is that for the sport, finally getting some revenue and for the teams that have been here for a while?
Well, long overdue, well-deserved. I think we've earned it. I think there's other changes we can talk about later. I want to talk about today that we can still do to make the NCAA tournament better. But I think that was a necessary advancement. I don't think much about it as coach because it doesn't really matter to me. But, we just want to go out and do the best we can. I'm going to coach my team and all that other stuff. I'll let, the politicians take care of that and the NCAA people.
And the other one is this is a rare spot with 3 women's first rounds within a 20-minute radius.
Yeah.
The men's.
And my son, who's coaching the University of Florida men's staff.
I was going to get to that, yeah. Your
Okay.
son is
I
here
know.
with the
There's
men's
a ton
staff.
of basketball people down here right now.
I mean, this is a hotbed, it seems, for women's for basketball this week. How big is that? I mean, there are a couple of West Coast teams out here, which probably not great travel-wise, but for this being this sort of the epicenter of the NCAA tournament teams for the next couple of days.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic that Washington, Oregon State, and Oregon, we're all out here in North Carolina right now. It's kind of odd. It's about as far away as we can go. I think it's really neat. I mean, I wish I wasn't coaching a team right now, right, in a crazy sort of way, because then you could just sit and watch games. I think that's really neat. But I think in my lifetime, Tobacco Road's always kind of been the epicenter of college basketball. I've grown up kind of knowing that this is what it's like down here. But yeah, really, I think really neat. I mean, really neat. And it just goes to show you how strong women's basketball is in this area, right? I mean, to have 3 elite teams hosting like this, I can just imagine how those rivalries play out each and every year. Incredible.
in the back, and then
Is that what you wanted, Doug? I'll frame it however you want, big fella. I've known you for a long time. Okay.
It's all about the angles. In the back, and then we'll come to the second row.
Hi, Coach. Destiny with the Juice Network. Welcome to the East Coast, first of all. Secondly, what are you telling your freshmen that are coming into their first March Madness? How are you preparing them for the cultural change of regular season to postseason?
Well, we had a short run in postseason already in the Big Ten tournament. We hopefully will do a little bit better than we did then. I think with anytime you have youngsters, you rely on your experience. And thank goodness we have some good experienced guards that have been in this situation before, led by Deja. I know you guys just talked with her. And I ask them to really help the young players. But I think anytime you go to the NCAA tournament, you should always play with kind of a nothing to lose attitude, have fun. At this point, we're not going to reinvent ourselves. We are who we are. So our players should feel prepared and they understand what we want to do. And I think for a freshman, that's important that they have that kind of, blanket, right, security blanket, that they know what's going to be asked of them, that we're not going to ask anymore. It's a big stage, and I think early on we want to take advantage of that because they've got some young players. They've got some talented players, but they're still young. Michaela, this is her first NCAA tournament. And hopefully she's really tight. So give her some tough questions.
Second row. And just a reminder to give your name and affiliation. And then to Zoom, if you will, just raise your hand on there if you would like to have a question in a few moments.
Nick Daschle from the Oregonian. Hopefully this hasn't been asked yet. Obviously, you won a bunch of games, a double-digit seed in your career. Is there an approach or a style of play that seems to lend itself to, winning games as a kind of a 10 or 11, 12 seed?
Yeah, well, I've been there a lot. I guess if you're there a lot, then you're going to have more opportunities. But yeah, I think we put it out. Chris did a hell of a job there. 9 wins personally as a coach that I've won as a double-digit seed. So I think it helped that in 2 of those were Elite 8 runs. I had Courtney Vandersloot one year and Sabrina Ionescu the other year running point. That's a good place to start. But I think again, it's just this time of year. I tell the team it matters who you play, right? The matchup, and then how you play. We can't worry about the seed. It doesn't really matter at this point. So we're just going to have we go out and do the best we can kind of attitude, and that has helped us in the past. I think that's really, you got to stay loose.
And then you've had 1 seeds and 12 seeds. Is the message or approach any different for those type of teams?
No, not my experience. I've felt that we've kind of gone into every tournament the same. Even when you're a 1 seed, you got to play with nothing to lose attitude. I think in this time of year, teams that play tight, they struggle because it is a bigger stage, and you just got to let it loose. And it's kind of worked in the past. It's nothing magical. I wish there was some secret sauce, but there's not.
Any other questions from the room? Time for maybe one more here in the front row before we go to Zoom.
Kelly, you're so good on the last question that I figured I'd ask another big picture question of you. Okay. When you first got into coaching is, I'm guessing, a lot different than now. It was probably more just X's and O's and recruiting kids. It seems now there's a lot more you guys have to deal with. NIL, keeping your own players there and instead of going to the portal, things like that. What advice would you give to a person trying to get into coaching now? Is it worth getting into anymore? Because it seems there's all this other stuff that probably isn't what you signed up for when you first started doing this.
Would I tell somebody to get in the profession? Yes, it's a great profession. I love it. I've loved every minute of it. We all have ups and downs. It is different. But for a young coach getting in, this is all they know. So it's not different to them. We have a football coach you may have heard of, Dan Lanning, young guy, great guy, energetic. He is the new style of coach. And so I actually spent a lot of time with him last spring, when I was coming to a crossroads as a coach, because a lot of my peers have kind of stepped away in the last year or two because they haven't liked nor wanted to handle the change. And we talked it out. He was fantastic and gave me a whole new perspective. So I still think it's a great profession. We're just going through so many changes so quickly that it's kind of hard to navigate right now. But at some point, it'll settle down. We'll figure this out, and it'll be a new model, going forward. So I have a great young staff. They're phenomenal, and they keep me young and, and trying to do things the new way. But, yeah, I think we're going to come out of this even better, to be honest with you. It's just different.
Well, we've got one question on Zoom, Coach. Eric, you have the floor.
Hey, Coach. Eric Scopel, Duck Territory. You know who I am. What's the impact of not having a Lisa here in terms of the matchup with Michaela Blakes and everything?
I'm sorry, was that Elisa? Did you say?
I think so, yes.
Yeah, a huge loss for us. For those that don't know, Lisa Mevius was, broke her hand. She actually did it about a month and a half ago and played a month with a broken right hand. It just shows how tough she is. But yeah, our best defender, she can defend elite guards. We're going to miss her, and we have missed her. The last couple of games, we haven't been the same defensively as we were early in the year. She's also a playmaker. So we just, everybody else got to step up. We have some senior guards, Nani Falatea, Peyton Scott, Deja Kelly. They've just got to do more defensively. Do I look at him or do I look out here?
You just you can look wherever you want, but if you want to look this way,
I've seen what he looks like. I'll look out this way. But you just got to do it by committee. And they're more than Michaela Blakes. I mean, my goodness sakes, Camille Pierre is a fantastic player. Her first name's skipping me right now, but number 23. They are just really good, and then they have great role players. Those three, everything revolves around those three. And then they have some unselfish other pieces that are key for them to do what they do. But I think that those three are getting about 90% of their points or something like that. So it's going to be quite a challenge. So it would have been nice to have Elisa, but we don't have her. And I'm not an excuse maker. I'm not going to say that we got in at 3:30 last night. I won't say that because we don't play till tomorrow. So we'll be good and ready. But, yeah, we're just not as efficient defensively without Elisa. She's a difference maker.
So 2 more on Zoom, and then we'll be done. Rob, you have the floor.
Hey, KG, Rob Mosley here. The 2 players we talked to, Deja and Peyton, obviously have very different NCAA tournament resumes. I wonder how each of those things can benefit them individually. Deja's experience, obviously, but then perhaps Peyton's just kind of fresh excitement, enthusiasm, whatever, for this experience.
Well, we've already relied on Deja a lot. Yeah, with that experience, she's had a lot of success in this tournament. First time for Peyton, as you said, and but she's a baller. She's a gamer. She's a tough kid. This is who she is. I think she's lived for these kind of moments, and I'm just glad that she's been rewarded with that this year, an opportunity to play in this tournament. But those 2 have been kind of our heart and soul all year. We're going to rely on them a ton. I'm for Scotty's sake, I'm hoping she has a really great tournament because she's earned it. She's had a tough journey, a couple of ACLs, and with the transfer and everything, and I'm just happy for her.
So the last one, Ronald, you're up.
Ronald Clark, KMTR in Eugene. Coach, obviously you've made the tournament plenty of times and made different runs, but now you have a lot of new faces on the team this year for your first time going into the tournament with them. What's sort of your message to the team heading into this matchup?
Oh, just have fun. Seriously, have fun. Our message hasn't been anything different than if you've been at our practices or any of our team meetings between the regular season and now, you wouldn't be able to tell any difference. And we've traveled, this is our 6th time traveling cross country. My guess is if you include our trip to Hawaii during Thanksgiving, we had to have traveled more than any team in the NCAA this year. So the travel shouldn't affect us. We really have no excuses. We just got to go in and have some fun and do our best. Do you ever hear that? I don't know. I'm not giving you any nuggets. Yeah, it's the same thing.
Thank you for your time.
All right,
Good
you
luck
got it, you guys. I wish you all the best. I will tell you a story. The last time I was here, though, it was the first time I ever had a Funyun. They had a snack bag, and I was pretty nervous coming in here after the last game, and I grabbed a pack of Funyuns and ate them. It's like the best thing I've ever eaten in my life.
They're delicious.
And I actually picked up a second one and I brought it with me to the podium to eat later. And I actually saved that bag. I still have it somewhere. And it probably is still good enough to eat with all the preservatives and everything, right? I could probably still dig it out and eat it. I got addicted to them after that. Don't do donuts, believe me. This body was built by donuts.
As a reminder to the media, Hammond Communications will post a recording of this press conference in the NCAA Digital Media Hub at ncaa.veritone.com. Transcripts are provided by ASAP and will be posted shortly. Thank you for joining us.